Can we have all of the judges for the next session in the front seats here? And also the innovators, if you'd like to come and take the stage. So just before we start this session, while we're waiting for people to join the stage, inside of your programme, there is a small voting slip. So at the end of this session, we're going to be asking you to cast your vote as the audience.
Hi everyone, my name is Leslie and many of you may know me as Chief Chaser or Director of Herding. But today I'm delighted to be the chair of the Solving Challenges Tech Innovation session. I hope that you've enjoyed your morning session so far. I know I have, but I think you are in for a real treat now. I've had the honour to read the pictures, and my goodness, what stood out for me was the care, the consideration and thoughtfulness with regards to their solutions. But more importantly, as a huge advocate of PPI, I was impressed by their inclusion of their ability to listen to and to really put patient groups and individuals into the heart of their technical solutions. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over into the very capable hands of Lamprini from Health Innovation East and invite our 4 innovators onto the stage. Our 5th innovator is in America and will hopefully, fingers crossed, be joining us live.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Innovation Challenge session. I'm Lamprini Kaftantzi. I am a senior advisor of the commercial team at Health Innovation East, formerly known as Eastern Academic Health Science Centre Network. If you haven't heard about us, we are commissioned by NHS England and the Government's Office for the Life Sciences. And we support regional NHS to adopt proven innovation, and we also work with industry, partner with industry to position their products most effectively to the NHS. We are 15 regional innovation networks across England, but we do work as a single national network. And we have almost 800 specialists on board. Despite our very recent name change, we remain the same organization, and we have our purpose remains the same, which is to turn great ideas into positive impact. And we also remain committed to the same programs and the same priorities that we know will help us deliver that impact, and rare disease space is one of them. So this is a bit of a background of how we got here today to the presentation, to the pitching competition. So we, Health Innovation East partnered with CamRARE to understand where innovation can improve the lives of people affected by rare diseases. We used a survey that was done across the rare community and the government's latest publications, and we basically identified 3 significant healthcare challenges. We reached out to our innovators to share the solutions, and we asked them to submit their applications to our system. We received a lot of applications, and then each and every one was reviewed and scored by our 5 experts. The 5 highest scoring innovations were invited here today to present, and then the overall winner of this of today will receive tailored support from both Health Innovation East and CamRARE in order to develop further their innovation commercially and hopefully introduce it into the NHS. So that was what Joe was talking about. It's a reminder of the 3 challenges. How might we use digital technology and AI to improve equity of access to clear, reliable information about rare diseases or genomic testing? This is the difference from the challenges a couple of years ago. Second challenge, how might we use AI and digital technology to improve coordination of care for people living with rare diseases, and including the transition of young people from pediatric services into adult health services. And finally, challenge 3, how do we use digital technology to maintain well-being and enhance mental health support? We can see our 5 judges. You have on the website of RAREsummit, you have their more detailed bios. Louise Jopling is the Commercial Director of Health Innovation East. Richardson, General Manager, Alexion, AstraZeneca. Dr. Gemma Chandratillake, and who is Genomics Education Lead and Chair of Trustees, and Berry, who is CamRARE Trustee. Unfortunately, Jill Harkin wasn't able to make it today, but we have a team here who will be the 5th judge. So let me move on to the 5 innovators. So these are the 5 innovators. I'll give you, you have 5 minutes each to present. And the first one is Enrich.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. We had an amazing morning. I'm Saran Muthaya. I'm a specialist pediatric physiotherapist with over 20 years of experience. And I'm also the founder and CEO of Enrich My Care. So what's Enrich My Care? It's a one-stop personalized health and care pathway monitoring platform that helps manage the complex needs of children with rare disease and other long-term conditions. So why do they need a platform like Enrich My Care? Let's take Susanna. She's a 7-year-old child with a rare disease and autism. Her life is so different from her peers. At any given time, she sees anywhere between 15 to 20 different practitioners across different hospitals, community clinics, and in her own school. Sometimes she has 17 different appointments a month, and her parents have to carry out 5 different therapy plans every single day. And she goes through this diagnostic odyssey that we have spoken about, repeated appointments, repeated delays, and also wrong diagnoses and unnecessary investigations and tests. Her parents' experiences of constant battle. Sadly, there are 2.2 million children in the UK, and 30% of them have complex needs. And parents are spending nearly 80 hours a week caring for their needs. So, what's the challenge in rare disease? Firstly, the diagnosis is challenging, delays after delay. That's also because of the lack of the right data at the right time. Also, there's lack of awareness with the practitioners about the condition. And also, there's challenges in accessing specialist care and specialist drugs, which is so crucial. Compounding all of this is the disjointed care pathways, which makes communication and information sharing extremely challenging. And parents often act as the case manager, taking information from one practitioner to the other. And it's a closed loop of challenges, which is very difficult to break. This is where Enrich My Care comes in. We feel the key to unlocking this closed loop lies with the families, parents, and carers. What do? We have a very simple app which has got AI-driven built-in templates that help parents and carers to capture all the information right from early childhood throughout their course of the journey. It also helps with capturing all their care appointments across various services. And also, the app has easy layout that helps them capture the key events that we need as practitioners to manage their care. Once all the data is in a single place, that makes it much more easier for practitioners like me and my colleagues, because with data-driven models, we can then access their care. We can also remotely monitor, and also the platform enables automated reports every month or just in time, just before we see them. Again, often we get subjective information, which makes it harder for parents as well to provide that, so the app helps with all of that. Also, there is a supporting information that helps parents to self-manage, and also lots of information that they need early on. It's so important for them to be able to support their children. The data that is available, it's not just helpful for the likes of practitioners. It's also for research purpose. Again, we can support that journey. And also for policymakers, it's so important that we need to show the evidence of what therapy and intervention is working and what's not. As I said, there are multiple benefits on the platform, including built-in passports, but it's not just the passports that they have to take with their hand. It's the monitoring aspect of it. Those reporting, which happens automated, which happens through AI, is much more helpful. And also it helps us with the data-driven way of managing their condition. And as I said, it also feeds into the national targets of how we can support with faster diagnosis and also aid collaborative working, which is so important. This is how the platform looks, the child and family app on the one side, and also the dashboards, which has got care journey trackers, as well as a snapshot of how all the data is available in one single view for us to see, because we are always pressed for time in our clinics. We have a great team with proven track record and also a great vision to succeed in this area. In terms of our journey, the idea started back in 2017, and then we spoke about PPIE and how important it is, and we engaged with more than 200 families and practitioners as well, which then helped us validate the problem as well as the solution. And then we went on to carry out ethics-approved study, and also we carried out a parent-led pilot early this year, which was a 6-month study that helped us understand quite a lot of things about the app, as well as a lot of positive feedback. We've also won some awards, as well as we have got ORCA certification, and now we are trialing a pilot with the NHS Derby. What is our USP? Our key thing is we bring health, social care, and education onto a single platform, and this is a bespoke platform for children. Thank you. This is a nice case study. Thank you.
I forgot to say, in terms of process, that we are going to have one question per judge, and then the judge will invite another one question from the audience. So we're 2 in total for each innovation.
Thank you.
I believe I'm the judge for this one. Brilliant. I'm Sean Richardson. I'm the General Manager for Alexion, and it's my privilege to be one of the judges, and lucky for you, you got me as the judge. First of all, I say congratulations. I mean, it's a fantastic submission. What really stood out when going through it is the thought that's gone into, I think, your reference to the rare disease framework, where the challenges are around awareness, getting rapid diagnosis, coordination of care. What really stood out for me, and you touched on it, but it was more explicit in the applications, right at the very beginning, I think since 2019, you have sought input from families, over 250 people, and I think that is so important when you're designing a solution. Do you really understand the problem? And so what I'm really interested in is, what did you learn? What was the main things that really stood out from those conversations with the parents of those families that have formed this solution?
Fantastic, thank you. That's a great question. I think I spent 20 years of my life working with families. I could see the problem, I was frustrated, but how would a solution would look like? What is it? And early on, when I started working on this, people said, it's a big ocean, you can't boil the ocean. But the more I spoke to families, they helped us understand how a solution would look like, particularly when they are the common link across all the providers and all the stakeholders. That led us to sort of realize that we should empower them, we should give the tools with them, and they can easily navigate this pathway. Because pathways are always going to be challenging, and it keeps changing as well. And that's a key thing that set us on the path of how a solution should look like. And of course, after that, it's a usability side of things, and what information they can easily capture. Again, they don't have time. So we need to make sure that it has to be easy enough, and also the crucial, critical aspect which they can use in schools even, because they have to justify continuously and repeat the same information. So all those things have been shaped, and even now we get a lot of input in terms of new features of how we want this to work for them.
Very good. And I believe with the process, I can take one question from the audience. If I see a hand here. Lucy, you were up first.
Thank you, and it's also just great to see you've been working with breaking down barriers, and therefore I won't ask an obvious question, which is about tech poverty and all of that stuff. I'm sure the other funders can ask about that. But you raised awareness, and families for decades have been keeping detailed information about their children and about their appointments. It's not that families haven't had a pen and paper and been able to do that. We've also had wearable tech for quite a long time that's been capturing data that doctors still don't look at, they don't regard. People have care plans, they have pathways, they go into hospital and have these things. What is it about your app that is going to make busy people in the NHS look at it?
That's a great question. In my practice, if I have to click 3 times and then find information, that's a barrier in itself. The key thing for us is integration with the NHS. That's the key thing, and we started with that. And also, it's important to understand the practitioners in the care pathway. What do they look for? What information is important for them? It's identifying that and bringing that information easily with one snapshot for them. And also it's making sure that the trending and all the work has been done by the platform. So when we have 10 minutes, we don't need to ask questions that we can easily get the information here and then move forward with treatment. And that's the key for us. Again, that's the breaker that we need to have within the connection between NHS and the families. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
I've made a terrible mistake of drinking a liter of water just before, so my sense of urgency means I will stick to the time, I promise. So this is what we're working on. It's a medical device that helps people living with rare disease or other conditions monitor their health at home. I spent 5 years of my career as a research coordinator to coordinate rare disease research studies. My job was to ensure that the projects on speaking to those pharmaceuticals and researchers were done properly to find rare disease genes and SNPs, as they're called. I had a lot of researchers coming and speaking with me and saying they have really rare samples, they're really hard to get, please don't mess it up. And this led me to start this company. About 40% of people who live with rare disease have comorbidities. So they have other conditions that are caused by either the disease itself, the lifestyle, the environment, or most importantly, the drugs that they're taking to monitor the disease. We are focusing on the blood counts with this device, just for anybody to monitor at home the levels of blood cells that they have, all of blood cells. So this impacts a lot of diseases, not only rare disease, but a lot of rare diseases as well. One example is immune thrombocytopenia. It's a condition, it's a rare disease where patients have their own body attacking their platelets and destroying them. Now, a healthy human has about 300,000 platelets in a microliter, so in a drop of blood. People with ITP can have less than 5,000, which is life-threatening and can cause internal bleeding in the skull and in the brain. So they need to monitor the platelets regularly. Another condition is the famous sickle cell disease. A lot of people know. Here, the spleen filters out the abnormal shaped red blood cells, causing anemia directly. Also, drugs taken to monitor and to help sickle cell disease patients cause neutropenia a lot of the time. So white blood cells are very low, and you're at an infection risk all the time. Obviously, leukemia. CML is a chronic rare blood cancer that affects about 800 people a year in the UK. New people are diagnosed with CML. People who live with CML need to take drugs that cause neutropenia, anemia, and thrombocytopenia, all three blood cells that are very low and cause complications in their normal lives. So we have developed or are developing this tool. This tool is an at-home blood count device that counts every single cell one by one, so not sort of aggregates, in your blood sample. It enables patients to monitor their life and understand where they can go on the trip, whether they should go to hospital if they have a temperature, are they neutropenic, are they non-neutropenic, those sort of questions. And the results can be shared directly with the clinician to understand if the treatment is working or if it should be calibrated, changing the dose as well. How it works, it's based on flow cytometry. Some of you may know what this is. We are basically looking at every single cell going through channels over sensors, and the nature of the device is very low cost, so we use very poor electronics and very poor components, which generate a terrible signal. The signal is analyzed with machine learning, so the more cells we have, the more samples we have, the better the data gets. This is why we can today get a full differential count already with a single finger prick of blood without any labels or stains. We don't need to stain the cells to differentiate what type of cell is which. We are also working with a disposable cartridge, which is, we're now working with manufacturers to use biodegradable plastics for injection molding. So the disposable doesn't actually, it contributes to the net zero or zero waste in the healthcare system. The nature of the reusability of the device and the disposable has led to multiple patent applications, including international filing. And we are now at the clinical trial stage. So we have struck a partnership with Blackpool Teaching Hospital, which is now funding directly they are funding the clinical trial with 100 patients monitored weekly, starting in April. We chose Blackpool because that's where the greatest need is. I mean, I didn't know, I'm not from here, but Blackpool has two of the poorest postcodes in the UK, and you'd be surprised how many problems they have in that area. Our USP, well, people don't say this, but we are the only people that can do an at-home full differential count blood test. So it sets us apart from basically everybody. A lot of people are trying to do it, mostly point of care. Nobody can do it in a way that an untrained user can operate the device without messing up the results. 1 minute. We have won several Innovate UK grants. The last one was about $1 million in the last 3 months. The successful completion of the first project led to the award of 3 more grants. All of these were in the last 12 months. Most of them are for other application areas, including precision dosing, to calibrate the dose based on the patient's recovery. Yes, I've just talked about a few diseases. Obviously, there's a lot more. Cystic fibrosis, multiple sclerosis, and lots of other diseases require a regular or would benefit from a regular blood count. That's it. We have partners and are looking for more partners to bring this to market. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I'm Sue Berry, trustee of CamRARE. I've got no voice, no arm. And I'm here as a mum. The reason why I'm CamRARE is I'm a mum of a rare disease child. So unfortunately, I can't answer your highbrow technical question, but I really love reading all the presentations from everybody. You're all trying to help people with children with rare diseases, and I think it's admirable. Obviously there's a long way to go with finishing off your prototypes, but the use for children and families, how simple is it for me at home that, I've got a child that needs blood taken, or how often? Take me through what it feels like and to understand the brilliance of what you've invented, please.
So the usability, you mean how
Yeah.
you take a finger prick, so capillary blood sample from your finger, and you drop a drop of blood falls straight onto the disposable. So you don't touch the disposable. It's just for regulatory. It's easier that way, and it's easier for volume control as well. So you'd have a finger prick you take on your child's finger.
Just like diabetes people do.
Yes, exactly. And the drop of blood falls into the consumable that gets slotted into the device.
And then the parents write down the numbers, or the numbers get called?
So unfortunately, the battery ran out. I was trying to charge it earlier, but it would be appearing on the device, the result, at the moment. We are working on an app. So now we're working on the software, but the app will display the results on an app, hopefully linking it directly with the clinician, but we haven't done this yet.
And then you'd build your own graph, your own results?
Yes, you have a dose response and a profile on how you recover. It's very important for children who take steroids, especially between, I think, 4 and 10, when steroids are terrible for the bone growth, but they're also vital for the drug. So knowing how your body's recovering enables precision dosing next time they go to the clinician.
Perfect, thank you. Does anyone else have a question for this gentleman?
Hi, thank you. Amazing innovation. I'm a mum also, but also CEO of EOS Network, the Eosinophilic Diseases Charity. After, on a parent level, but also representing other patients, after spending 20 years of going in and out of hospital far too regularly with my eldest child, and blood tests being the first thing they do when we walk in the door to decide whether we need to stay or not, this would be a game changer. Does it also test for inflammatory markers, or is that something that you're thinking about possibly doing to keep people out, to determine whether they've got an infection? That for us is a fundamental question. Do we need to go to hospital, or is this just another bad day?
Yeah, great question. So the answer is no, not directly. So we only look at blood cells. We don't do liver function or CRP or other inflammation markers, but we could do. We're just not doing it at the moment. As for an infection, you can tell if the infection is bacterial or viral based on your blood cells. So we can tell a lot about infection if you have one only with blood cells. But we can't do every blood test there is, basically. We're only doing blood count.
Yeah, CRP was the one, and ESR was the sort of questions that I was raising. But yeah, it just gives an indicator. For us, it's always a fundamental question. Do we go now, or do we go later? So if you could answer that question, it would be amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm from Liberate Pro. I'm Jignesh. This is a platform designed for giving the information to the patient, because what happens is the more the patient thinks that the disease is bad, he completely forgets, the family completely forgets what the clinician are saying. And what we felt is that is a big need, because once you go home, you forget 80% of what the clinician has told you. The information goes away, the other family members are asking, what did the clinician say? And suddenly you completely forget. So what we have designed is a place where the information can be kept for the patients and the family members to consume. What is happening in the NHS? We all know that there is a chronic shortage of NHS doctors. There are 7,000 plus rare diseases which the clinician needs to know. What we are trying to do is we are trying to give all the information for the clinician and the patient on a single platform, which will help them in actually giving the right information, avoiding misdiagnosis. It's exactly what I said, right? That there is a limited time, there is a limited knowledge, and the patients really are not absorbing when the clinician is saying what they are going through. This is the platform, very simple to use. The clinician can use the platform for the patients and themselves. We have fantastic research going on in this area in rare diseases, but the scientific knowledge is not going to the clinician. So where do we put it? We put it in one platform where the scientific knowledge is there and the knowledge for the patient in a very simple language, like Hannah from NIHR said, that animate it, make it simple to understand for the families and for the patients, so that they exactly know what they are going through, they exactly know what the treatment is and what the diagnosis is, what is the care pathway which is going to go from here on. Key features for the patients and family, it's all the educational material you require to go through what you are going through, and in a very simple language. For the healthcare providers and the nurse staff, it is something which is there for them to go to as a ready reckoner, see what exactly it is. So many rare diseases, let's not misdiagnose, let's give the patient the right advice, the families the right advice, and let's go on to that. We have our own medical writers, we have our own content writers, so it becomes very easy for us to turn around any disease area, put it on the platform for them to consume. This is one of the areas which we worked on, and it is as simple as that. You just create the media pack in such a way, the video in such a way that it can be consumed easily. We are a multilingual platform. It is very easy to use, and any language, so that language does not become a barrier.
Liberate Pro is a revolutionary new patient education app for healthcare providers that can be integrated into your digital workflow to engage patients in a more meaningful conversation about their condition and treatment. Liberate Pro delivers deeply personal digital educational encounters at all points of care, including the clinic, hospital discharge, pharmacy, and teleconsultations. With Liberate Pro, users can improve patient engagement outcomes, which leads to better adherence to instructions. Start enriching patient engagement with Liberate Pro today.
That's about it. I'll take questions.
So thanks, Jignash. And I'm Louise Jopling, Commercial Director at Health Innovation East. So great presentation. I would like to ask you, if you are the winner of today's challenge, what specifically would you need to get from the partnership with ourselves and CamRARE to help accelerate out to the 7,000 rare diseases?
So what we would require is to partner with people and giving us the knowledge to put it on the platform, the right set of scientific knowledge and right set of knowledge which goes to the patient. Like with the patient advocacy group, we would love to work with them. We would love to work with patient charities because they have the knowledge of what's happening with the families and the patients. We get that knowledge, simplify it, and put it on the platform for the entire, the NHS and all the patients to consume.
So really interesting. So I understand that you can give very detailed kind of diagnostic information so that it's user-friendly and patient-friendly. Are you also including the treatment plan on this platform? Yes. So they go away with information about the medications and the understanding of what that medication is and contraindications, that kind of thing. So they understand the whole picture, not just information about the condition itself. Absolutely.
So the clinician can annotate, they can record, because obviously the placebo effect of hearing your clinician is quite high. So a clinician can go through the entire pathway, record the treatment plan, So they take the education, the basic education, they annotate it to the level to what the patient needs, and the treatment plan, the care plan is recorded on the platform so that it can be consumed multiple times. So you don't have to go back to your file. When you listen to what the doctor has said, that is exactly what it'll keep coming up. Every time you change anything, any treatment plan, like we know there are comorbid patients, every plan is different to every individual.
Hi, two aspects to this. One is, you've talked about you'd like to partner with patient advocacy organisations, but potential for a link within this application to related patient advocacy organisations for information for the families, because in many rare diseases they are so ultra rare, and I guess this is the majority, that there are no NICE guidelines. There is lack of scientific or medical information to put on this app about each of these rare diseases. So where are you supposing that you're going to get that underlying information to populate this app?
So like we have discussed it in previous areas where there is a lot of research happening. There's a lot of research and understanding of many rare diseases across the world. It's not only in the UK. What we want to do is we want to talk to the patient advocacy groups. We want to talk to the NIHR. We want to talk to, like Nick had for AKU. These are the people who are going to be the partners to build that particular content, because they are working in that. They are family members who are working in a particular area. If we can build content, we are here to simplify the content. There is so much of scientific jargon all across the world, but there is nothing which is simplified for the patient and families. And what we want to do is to make it simple and consumable, so that, in fact, for a clinical trial, how do you engage a patient or a family member to come into the trial, right? You want to do trials, but they don't know how to engage. And what is there in the clinical trial? If we can simplify to this platform, that what is there in the clinical trial, how they'll benefit, there is always going to be an engagement.
Hebe. Hi everyone, I'm between you and lunch, so thank you for bearing with. So, Hebe. At Hebe, we're on a mission to ensure that no family caring for a child with a rare disease or complex condition is left unsupported. Through our care coordination platform, we're equipping families with the tools and guidance that they need to manage, coordinate, and navigate their child's care. My name's Sam. I've seen the need for this personally growing up, and I've spent my career professionally working with the world's largest healthcare organisations, the NHS here in the UK and United Health Group in the US. With my co-founder Uzai, who's a software engineer and repeat health tech entrepreneur, we began building Hebe. So, behind every child, there's a family at home working out how to manage, coordinate, and navigate their child's care. Children's care, and rare disease in particular, is incredibly fragmented. With no prior training, tools, or resources, parents become their child's care coordinator. As we know, they're managing symptoms, medications, appointments, documentation, and so much more, whilst navigating a system that's split between healthcare, education, and social care, all with their own fragmentations as well. But it's well established that care coordination support for families improves outcomes and reduces costs to the system. But the existing support is highly manual. The status quo for managing and sharing information involves towers of paper folders, or perhaps if you are forward-thinking, you've got an Excel spreadsheet, a WhatsApp group, and a Google Doc system. And for navigating the system, you're waiting for multiple weeks for a callback to help you, or you're scouring Facebook groups and Google. At Hebe, we've made this support scalable for the first time. We're offering smart tracking, storing and sharing of care information for a multidisciplinary team. We provide shareable care passports, always accessible to allow for efficient communication of a child's needs. And we provide tailored care navigation support to a family, personalised to their situation through a conversational AI and knowledge base of trusted content. We help families find the benefits they're entitled to, local care services, parenting strategies, and so much more. We're starting with a focus on rare disease, but we're building the foundations of a more general care coordination platform, and 1 in 6 children have a developmental condition. Now that's 14 million families in the UK and the US where our initial target markets lie. Support of this kind to families has been evidenced to save over £1,000 per child per year, which means this is a multi-billion healthcare opportunity, and most importantly, those same studies show significant improvements in care outcomes. So we offer a subscription to families directly, who can download it straight off the App Store, and we partner with care organisations who commission HEBE for populations they support. To organisations, we provide a low-cost, scalable complement to their care coordination services. We provide a total cost of care reduction for healthcare payers and improved care outcomes for families. And we look to partner with life science and research organisations because of the patient support and the information collection that HEBE can facilitate. Hundreds of families and numerous organisations have signed up to HEBE because of those benefits. And in fact, our early access users have described HEBE as every special needs parent's dream. We're really fortunate that to deliver on demand, we recently closed a fundraise from some amazing investors, including the former chair of the NHS, the former head of health at Google DeepMind, and one of Europe's leading digital health venture capital funds. The landscape today, as I mentioned, is filled with what can be described as incumbent services, paper folders, Googling, Excel spreadsheets, and more. Fortunately, people are building fantastic solutions in this space, and what we're trying to bring to the table is something that is dynamic and something that is tailored to a family's need. Alongside myself and Uzai and our core team, we're really fortunate to be surrounded by some amazing advisors. They bring clinical, technical, and lived experience to HEBE. It would obviously be amazing if you voted for us, but the most important thing that I wanted to say today is if you work with children with rare diseases, complex conditions, long-term conditions, and you'd like to talk about how to provide support to them and their families to manage, coordinate, and navigate care, please come and grab me afterwards or send me an email at sam@hebe.health. Thanks very much.
Hi, so I'm Gemma Chandratillake from CamRARE, but also with my day job on, I am deeply embedded in working in the NHS, and so I really understand what the references you made about the NHS being very fragmented and social care and educational services too. So my question is, what has your experience been, and how are you thinking about removing systems barriers to facilitate adoption by providers?
Yeah, I think the experience that I've had with pitching what we're doing at HEBE is a bit like, this might be niche, but the Spider-Man meme where everyone points at each other across health, education and social care. But fortunately, there's a lot more recognition now at a policy level that services do need to be commissioned for children's care. And I think what we're trying to do is by starting with something that puts the family at the core, we can really build something that then brings all of those fragmented organisations onto the same page and use the families that we're trying to help to hopefully advocate us and bring it to the attention of those within the NHS. I hope that answers the question.
That
Maybe
does
not.
answer the question. I would challenge to think about how we can think about that as a systems perspective, because I think it's very difficult for a family to walk into the different organisations and say, please use our app.
I'm with you.
When you really need the app to be adopted at a systems level.
I'll say two things. So where we have the most interest from the NHS is from two angles. The first are those in the diagnostic journey. So those providers of care that know that pre and post diagnosis families are looking for support. The second is actually at the integrated care board level, where each region now has a designated clinical officer for special educational needs and disabilities. So we're looking for them to commission it and then roll it out across the provider organisations within that patch.
Hi, I'm Nitya. I'm one of the pediatric registrars and I work in the Royal London Hospital. So at the region I work, engaging patients is very difficult. We often use language line even to communicate with them. I know it's a fantastic app and things, but how do you cater to this population? 80% of the population, I don't think they use phones, or maybe phones for very basic calling and things. How will you engage this pocket of population to use your app? I'm sure even in the US and rest of UK, there are pockets of population where they don't engage. They can't read. So how do you engage this population?
Yeah, it's a really good question. There's three things I'd say. I think, first of all, one of the things that isn't spoken about, in my opinion, enough in healthcare is the importance of design, because so much of a healthcare outcome is driven by engagement. Engagement is driven by design. So it's really at the core of HEBE has been to build something that is user-friendly and intuitive. The second point I was going to make, and I referenced it briefly on one of our slides, is that we're able to be multilingual. So the advice you get through the AI we've built is able to cater to any language you're asking the question in. That's come about because we do a lot of workshops with London-based councils who've told us that actually English is often not a language in which most of our users might be able to best understand their child's needs. And the third thing is digital literacy. So we've made sure that this is available not just on the iPhone, but it's available on Android devices. We've made sure that it's available offline as well. I don't think that's going to mean 100% coverage because there is always variation in people's comfort in using these tools, but we're hoping we can help enough that then there's then more capacity in the human support that can be provided to those families who would need that.
Thank you.
So our next presentation is going to be virtual, and Jason has woken up really early in the US to do this, so hopefully.
First of all, I just want to thank the Cambridge Rare Disease Network and Health Innovation East for providing this amazing technology challenge. I wish I could cast my vote, and thank you for accommodating me from afar. We're honored to be alongside these incredible finalists. First of all, my name is Jason Hallwood. I'm CEO and founder of Across Healthcare. I've been blessed to have a 23-year career as a technologist and executive in healthcare and life sciences industry. I'm also a rare disease patient with a long diagnostic journey. It took me 32 years to find my diagnosis. This quickly became a personal and professional passion of mine to use my technology talents to help in the global rare disease community. I have been building very expensive data platforms for top-tier and well-funded organizations like Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, Muscular Dystrophy Association, and it broke my heart that all rare disease communities, big or small, could not afford to have a platform to empower their patients, caregivers, clinicians, and researchers. We launched our Matrix Rare Disease platform in 2019 to fill this need. We're excited as of today to have 75 patient advocacy groups encompassing 144 rare conditions. Additionally, our users span 111 countries, and the platform is currently available in 9 languages. We're humbled by this growth, but until we reach the now almost 11,000 rare disease and counting and establish 400 million rare disease patients globally, our work is not done. The concept behind Matrix was that patients, caregivers, clinicians, researchers, and others do not independently care for or cure rare diseases. We should be co-producing this care together. We should be seeking cures together. Historic research, technology systems, and processes tend to be one-way siloed questions and responses without anything back. We wanted to build a system that provided transparency and continuous feedback loops and was very user-friendly and useful on a daily basis to everybody involved. To this end, we spent the first year developing Matrix with patients and caregivers, asking them what tools and capabilities they would want in their hectic daily lives. They provided feedback on a whole host of tools like journaling to keep simple narrative details around everything that's happening over time. They also included capabilities like real-time symptom and activity tracking. We also heard medications was very complicated for adherence and refill management, so we added support for alerts and reminders around this. We heard patients and caregivers had a variety of files they had collected over time and wanted a single place to store them on our Matrix platform. Also, patients and caregivers said, I just want to see myself compared to patients like me. What are they saying about themselves? And we added that. Finally, caregivers wanted their data to be portable. So I'm putting all this data into Matrix. How do I get it out? So we provided secure links so that you can send to loved ones, therapists, schools, specialists, and others as desired. While the tools we built for patients and caregivers was well received, we knew we also, because most of us have a clinical research background in mind, knew we had to have validated instruments to provide robust endpoints and outcomes and other needed natural history data for regulators if we wanted to use this data for clinical trials. This year, we focused a lot on devices, sensor, and app integrations to expand our available data. As of this month, we provide connectivity to 550 devices and apps within Matrix. Examples of these span from activity trackers to continuous glucose monitors and everything in between. In the spirit of co-production, Matrix allows clinicians also from their side to collect data. In this case, participating clinicians are linked to their consented patients, and then the availability to complete these case report forms as patients come in for their visits. Additionally, clinicians are able to see in real time any patient-provided data on the platform as it's entered in between visits. Any forms, files, and other content that the clinician enters, they can share that back with the patient at any time. Matrix also allows for various levels of reporting, analytics, and data capabilities. This allows administrators of a community to have visibility into the patient population, as well as researchers to have the appropriate data sets. In conclusion, our goal is many, this is just 4, but our goal is that Matrix is used to help patients and families in their daily activities and lives. Our goal is that Matrix is used to help clinicians better support the patients and their care. Our goal is that data collected within Matrix can better characterize a disease, and with that knowledge, de-risk pharma, biotech, and other entrants to create potential therapies. Our goal is to use Matrix data as a control arm in a clinical trial to prevent heart-wrenching...
Jason, you've run out of time, I'm sorry. Can you please wrap up in seconds?
That's it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
Wow. So this time I do have to be here. So that was really amazing. And so as the co-founder actually of CamRARE, first of all, I want to thank you for everything you're doing for the rare disease community. It's mind-blowing. And then with my day job hat on, I'm the CEO of a biotech focused on using AI for rare diseases. And we spend a lot of time thinking about patient impact versus scale. And I think what you're trying to do here is amazing. I would love to hear more thoughts around going very deep into one disease and having an impact there versus building a tool that you could scale to 11,000 diseases. How do you think about that, and what are the learnings that you've had along this journey?
Yeah, that's a very good point, because every disease is slightly different. I think there's a lot of base, because I've been working in this a long time, there's a lot of consistency across how can we share. So it was really important for us, and you got, because of what we're trying to do, we're trying to make it very simple and easy for patients and caregivers to input data, but yet we have sophisticated researchers and clinical staff that want very precise variable collection. So it's very difficult to meet both worlds of a very dynamic caregiver versus a very precise clinician. So I think we've tried to balance that and make on the technical side, make the schemas and the data structures very fluid in that they can support all of these dynamics as well as that multilingual aspect, because this is a global problem, because like it's been stated before, these patient populations are very small, so it can't just be in the UK that you're doing this. You have to do this globally to get the sufficient patient population and data to support the kinds of research and outcomes and insights that we need on these diseases.
Thank you. I've got a question kind of in terms of it being international and how that would actually work with all of the different patient advocacy groups, and also how that would then integrate and the clinicians inputting data in all those different countries with all of the different systems in order for it to be the most effective. Do you think you'll get buy-in from the clinicians?
We do. We support global research today. So I have some trust in the UK that use my platform. In Canada, we definitely, because we're based out of the US, we have more US organizations, but constantly keeping up with the regulatory side of things and what you can and can't do with privacy, security needs and regulations that are always changing is a huge part of what we do, and that we have to stay on top of. But we definitely, most of that population that I talked about in 111 countries is patient reported, caregiver reported, not necessarily do I have sites in those regions as well, but we definitely have local support.
We're out of time, sorry. But thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause.
Announce the winner of the Innovation Challenge.
So thank you everyone who has voted. We have clear winners, Beyond Blood Diagnostics, with 31 votes. Then we have, second one is Enrich with 11 votes. Third one is, they kind of had the same votes. Like Hebe and Enrich are both 11. And then we have Matrix with 10 votes, and then we have Liberate Pro with 6.
Round of applause.
Hi everyone. I just want to say a quick few words at the end. I think what we've seen today are complex issues that need to be solved. I've seen how the innovators here have captured and enhanced the benefits of technologies, and one of the key concepts that I've taken away personally is the concept of simplicity to make people's lives simpler. So what I'd like to do is invite you to give a round of applause to our amazing innovators. And also the judges that got us to this point.